Hello traders, this is another edition of Stradog's weekly videos. In this video there will be a default subject, a look ahead on indices, covering US indices, S&P, Nasdaq, Russell and VIX and German DAX. We will see in this video on US indices how daily moving average 50 was acting as support. Then we will see the importance of being prepared and make scenarios with the examples from previous videos, that it was really possible to know possible targets of the pullback in advance and to familiarize ourselves with the false breaks, given the fact that false breaks, both false breakout and false breakdowns, are some of the most powerful trading setups. Earnings continues both in USA and in Germany, but in USA those bigger companies already reported the earnings, while on Germany we will still have in next week a few of DAX components reporting. Now back to the charts. So this is the S&P chart. In this case this is the chart of the E-mini futures, because on TradingView we currently cannot get the S&P cash index chart if you are logged in. Only if you are not logged in you can observe it. And just to observe this Thursday and Friday, and which have these long weeks below the daily 50, so this blue one is 50, red one is 200, so this usual simple moving averages, to observe them and to observe where are the closings. So in both cases, both of these days closed above the 50. Market had this pullback. This pullback started as a false breakout over the previous all-time high, which is a very common setup, as you can see in this snippet from previous weekly video. But then let's just remember how this move to the downside started, with the trade talks and so on as fundamental things behind. But the technical thing was this, that this here was the previous all-time high, and then the market made, after breaking that all-time high and retesting it, a failure. And then all of these people here, there were buyers, Johnny come late people, needed to liquidate their positions, and we had a move like this, and later it turned out into the bigger move to the downside. So that scenario is always a possibility. If market would go above and just make some kind of range here and then go below that range, that would again mean a similar situation like this. It doesn't have to be like this, it doesn't have to be a 20% move to the downside, it could be just 5% move to the downside, or don't know that. Now let's go observe Nasdaq. The same thing again, it was a false break above the previous all-time high, inability of market to go higher, and again daily 50 as a support. And on Russell that has his own struggle to go above this 1600 resistance level, and when it finally did it, it was a false break also. Russell still a lagging index, and on Russell both 50 and 200 acting as a support. So back to S&P now for a while, just to observe this here was a gap around 2840, which was also a target, marked as a target for a possible pullback a long time ago, as you can see in this snippet from previous weekly videos. The index chart, only RTH session chart, there is good thing that we can see these gaps, and these gaps can be targets in the situation that we are going to see a pullback first, because market is grinding like this. It's making its move to the upside with one-time framing, and whenever market is doing this, this means that it will leave behind a bunch of unfilled gaps, a bunch of untested point of controls, and making a structure like this isn't really good. But it doesn't mean that it has to make a pullback. That is just one of the scenarios. And in case of that scenario, those kind of gaps, especially this one here, could be a target. And this is like bottom of these gaps is around 2,840 on the futures. And let's go now down to the lower time frames. So we are still on the let's say high time frames with the S&P 240-minute chart. So this is a 4-hour time frame, and so far we had this as a correction. It is for now 4.5% correction, and it made a low here on Friday, so basically near this area of resistance from before. And on all of these indices, including German DAX, we have this kind of channel that is looking like a bull flag on Nasdaq also, and on Russell also, although on Russell is a bit different situation. Now, when you observe all of these charts, and when you're doing this week by week, day by day, then you know the scenarios and the importance of making these kind of scenarios, two scenarios. So again, market is here. Market, if it is bullish, it could go and test this trend line, which come as around 3,000. So in order to go there, it will need first to go again above this previous all-time high, then again above the new all-time high. Can it do it or not? We don't know that. And this pullback, although it was a 4.5% correction, it wasn't really nothing much if we can observe this move. And look where the first Fibonacci retracement is, 48.2. And between this low and 48.2, there is still plenty of unfilled gaps. And again, it doesn't mean that they are going to be filled immediately now in the next week. We don't know that. We are just making scenarios. In those scenarios, in those kind of scenarios, we will have now two very important levels, first, or zones. First one is going to be this Thursday and Friday lows, and the second one is going to be again previous all-time high and now current all-time high. So these zones are for now the most important zones on the S&P. And let's observe what happened there on Friday. This is S&P 15-minute chart, and now we can observe this was the Thursday low, this was the Friday low, and classic example of a spring or false breakdown, after which we got usually a short covering rally. And of course it is going to be happened because all of these people that are shorting, that are selling the market in the pre-market hours and after the market opened. So US Open was here. Immediately after the open we had a open drive lower, and all of these people after this rejection, they all had to close their trades, and now we get a short covering rally. And it looks the same on Nasdaq and on Russell. That spring was very small, just a point or two. So basically it was holding the lows from Thursday, and this was the signal that if you are holding short on Nasdaq or on the S&P below the Friday low, personally I had that trade, and when I saw that Russell is holding at the fourth, I closed it for gain, and I closed that. And now I remember, because I live in Europe and it is very late for me to trade US markets, but the traders that do trade US markets, there is a very good quote, I think it is from Stan Druckenmiller, that says good traders liquidate their position when they are wrong, but great traders reverse their positions when they are wrong. So now if you're trading this market and you're shorting and you see that you not getting any thing more from it, because we had gaps below to be filled. This is the gap on 28.15 and this gap and this gap. There are plenty of gaps which could be used as a targets, but market reversed, and when the market reversed, at least you have to close your trade, if not to reverse it. And on VIX we got a move on Thursday. This is May 9th high, and for a long time VIX weren't above 20 from January this year, but then on Friday, of course, after this reversal, VIX was going sharply to the downside. And again, this is another information, another piece of the puzzle. No matter are you a day trader, swing trader, or position trader, this is also something to watch. Intermarket divergences and of course VIX. Okay then, so what are the possible scenarios? Well, again, markets are going to be sensitive on this US-China trade talks, and as said before, this is now the most important zones that we are going to watch. Acceptance of the price below these lows could lead lower to test these other fib retracements, and of course that we have down to the downstairs more zones, more levels of support, and more gaps to be filled as targets. And in case the market can find strength to go above this previous all-time high and above new all-time high, then logical would be to expect market to go to test this trend line, because when you go above the all-time high, there is really nothing there that you can lean on. You can just make a trend line, and you can lean on the current ATR to try to see where the current daily move could end, and nothing more. So that would be the scenarios for the S&P, and the same goes for Nasdaq. And on Russell, again, this is very important. Can it go above this level here and above these highs, or are we going to see a move below Thursday and Friday low? So pretty much the same situation on all of the US indices. And now let's go and observe a bit what DAX is doing. So here we are on the DAX daily chart, and we can observe here that DAX made a false breakdown of the important support, which is this 12,030 to 50, and that we have now VIX only, both on Thursday and Friday. So this is a short-term bullish thing, and DAX really was an outer performer in this period from the March of 25th until this high here. DAX, as we can observe here, better maybe on 4-hour chart. So from here, from this green dot to this red dot, it made a 10.5% move, while S&P made like 6.1% move. And also all of these patterns here that are looking like a bull flags on the DAX and on US indices, DAX made its way above it. So as was projected in previous weekly videos, that these levels could be targets of the possible pullback. We got this first one as a target, we didn't get this second one. In order to see this second one and the bottom of this range, market must go below Thursday and Friday low. And if market find the strength and S&P push higher, then DAX will also go higher as well. As for the earnings on US markets, these bigger companies, FANG stocks, Microsoft and so on, the market movers already reported. We would have Alibaba and Cisco on Wednesday, and Walmart, Nvidia and Baidu on Thursday. But on DAX we will still have DAX components, so companies that are components of German DAX, such as power companies, E.ON and RWE, on Monday and on Wednesday, and on Tuesday we'll have three companies: Alliance, Merck, and ThyssenKrupp. So that is about the earnings and scenarios on DAX, as well as on the S&P. These highs here and these lows here are present now an inflection point. And of course, if you are interested in DAX, I am running the daily dose of DAX service for traders, and you can inform yourself if you are interested on my site. This is it, stratoctrading.com, and this is the home page of the site when you can inform yourself what is this service and how it's work. And subscribers get the material here on this daily dose of DAX page, where they can download the morning notes, which is a informative letter and trading plan. Also with this come chart with zones, and at the end of the day they will get a recap video. There is also here weekly videos and video of member demands, and we also have a members archive, well, where they can look those materials. And for the people that are interested to see what this service is, you can go here on examples and or archive. And this is it basically about DAX, and the end of this video. I wish you good trading and good weekend.